Just about.
I got that same movement.
Let me see. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna start.
So this is kind of just a pre, if you would just state your name and then spell it very slowly so that we get it on camera and then we'll spell it correctly in any kind of documents we use.
You ready?
We're ready?
James Thompson, Jamestompson.
Okay, and then Donovan would like you to hold the
Could you,
microphone
yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Ready again?
That's fine.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it again.
And then just state your name and then we'll just kind of go.
Jacob Nelson, JACOBNELSON, Nelson.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's start with Jacob. Would you state your age and then just kind of how it was like growing up when you were a child in Jefferson County? What were things like?
My age is 76 and I grew up on a farm. And it was kind of rough, but I made it.
When you say it was rough, what do you mean by it was rough? What was rough about it?
We had to have to work, we couldn't play around and lay around. We had to get out and do it.
What day were you born? What, do you know?
September the 19th, 1946.
Wow. Okay. Do you remember? Did you have livestock on your farm? Did you have animals on your farm?
Huh?
Did you have animals on your farm?
Animal?
Animals.
No.
What kind of life? So did you have chickens or?
Yeah, I had
Chickens.
hog, chicken, cow. Yeah, we used to plant tobacco and
Yeah.
watermelons and
Okay.
Who else was on the farm with you?
beg pardon.
Who else was working on the farm with you?
Oh, we was 11 of us. There was
Wow.
6 boys and 5 girls. The boys had to do the most of the work because we were the oldest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was the oldest child? Do you remember?
The oldest one, was older than me. He died. He never was too much affiliated with the farm because he was more of an outgoing, and his uncle took him away from here. We were raised by a stepdad, and he and my stepdad never could hardly get along. So my uncle took him to St. Petersburg, and I was left, and the twin to him and I was the one took the brunt of the load of the work all in all. And my stepdad we had 3,000 head of laying hens that we raised from, they would come from Ohio, and we would raise them into pullets, into hens, and we was egg farmer. He was a big egg farmer, and besides he was a big hog farmer, and we farmed watermelons, corn, tobacco. We was just a farm family. We worked it hard. We had to work hard because he believed in work, and never had much play. And even when I was coming along, I didn't. I went to the 5th grade in grade school, and I was growing. So I was always a big boy. I was growing so that when I went to go to 6th grade, all the little children under me, I said, "Oh no, I can't be in here with them." So, I quit school and just went straight farming, and from then to where I am now, it's been a rough go, but like he said, we made it. And I'm glad of it. I'm glad I came up the hard way, but the only thing I regret not getting a high school education back then where I could have went to college, because I believe if I had to went to college, I could have been just about anything I wanted to be in. I started sports and I couldn't complete that because I quit school. But anyway, we went on from farming, and I started farming, and so I farmed until just a few years ago when they ruled out all the small farmers. The only big farmers could farm anymore. It got so expensive, that they just ruled the little man out. So when that went to fading out, the small farmers went to fading out. You had to get loans from the government, and not many blacks was able to get. I only know 2 families probably in the whole Jefferson County and 70% of the, I would say 60% of the farmers were small black farmers, and the bigger farmers, they could get FHA loans. But I only know that maybe 2 families that were able to obtain a loan from FHA. So the small farmers just kind of faded in the sunset.
Did you sell your property?
No,
Yeah,
we still have the little property that we had. Now, most of our property was rented, because we rented a lot of property. My stepdad rented a lot of the property, and he could have owned a lot of property because some of the men that we was renting from offered him over 500 acres that he was gonna set it up because his son got to be the judge of the county. And they was no longer interested in farming. He was getting old, and he wanted to sell out, and he wanted Ben Ransom to have it. But
what can you tell me about your ancestors? Your grandparents?
Our ancestors. You got one right here. This Islam Nelson. They call him Ike. That was he was my granddaddy. He was a slave here on this plantation. He was one of the ones, from what I can understand, who bought the land that this church sits on now. He was one of the ones. So my ancestry, was through the Nelsons and the Thompson. They was on El Destino plantation. My dad. He was on the plantation, but from what I can understand, my great granddaddy on the Thompson side came from the Suez Canal. They was never under slavery. They were never under slavery. But my granddaddy on my mother's side they came slavery right here on this plantation, and
Wow.
No, Brett. I was going to say, Jacob, did you have anything to add to that? What do you remember about your grandfather or your stepdad or your mother, anything like that?
Yeah, we grew up, granddad used to walk fishing, and we used to go fishing and places like that, and he used to have a good time. And Granddad always would keep us something to eat, and we got along good on eating and stuff like that. We never went hungry for anything. Cause my stepdad, he would work the devil out, but he would feed us. We didn't get much different from that, and there was something to eat and work.
Well, see, we live about a mile and a half, right, we used to had to walk to our schools right over there.
Yeah, right over
And
there.
we walked to school through the 4th grade, 5th grade to here. And after the 5th grade, we started the busing, taking us to Howard Academy. And this church, we used to have to walk to church, you know, them that didn't have mule and wagons. And, you know, it's had a few little cars, old cars back then, but you'd find them all broke down side the road or in a bog. All of that was just dirt, you know. So the mule and wagon get through there pretty good, but you found a lot of old cars, they'd get bogged down, and you know. So
What was your school? What was the name of your school?
what was the name?
The name of the school?
Your Casablanca School.
Just Casablanca School.
That's the name of it.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your teachers? Do you remember any of your teachers?
Remember all my teachers.
Yeah? What were their names?
Mildred Jones, what Miss Schuler name?
Miss Schuler.
I can't think of her first name. Miss Schuler and
Academy Sanders.
Miss Hattie Sanders, Miss and Coach Presley, Miss Presley. We've had a slew of teachers, you know. They would, right there to that old school building, but it was torn down now.
Anything else you want to add about your ancestry or just kind of growing up in the county?
Yeah, I grew up. I remember when we couldn't go in a restaurant, we had to go to the back door to get a sandwich. Went to the elevator, we couldn't use the bathroom. It said white on it. We went through all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was rough, you know, but on the thing, we understood how to survive. You know, that was one of the things that toughness and this, you know, I'm trying to put a word there, the disgraceful parts of it, we learned to survive with it, you know, and we know we couldn't go. We had movie theater. We would go upstairs and they would be down below, you know, and while we were walking to school, many times the whites had a bus, and we had to get in the bushes to keep them from hitting us, throwing rocks and balls at us. We done been in them bushes there many times, you know, to keep that bus pass, because they would have rocks, balls they would throw at us. You know, it was, you know, like when we go to the movie, when we get out that movie, we hit the bushes. You didn't walk the highway, you know, because they would do the same thing to you, you know, and you would see a car light, them old car lights coming, we'd hit the bushes. Otherwise, that's the only time we hit the road when it's dark.
Yeah. Did you know any white children your age? Did you know any white children your age? Like,
yeah, we grew up with a lot of them, and they were just as mean. My oldest brother could get along with them better than anybody because he was strong. He didn't know his strength, you know, and he whipped two of them right down in the bush, down in the creek here, you know. And from that point, you know, we got along pretty good. We had one people, their dad and mom wasn't home. They would shoot at us coming from school.
Man, I was walking to school there. They were running a little stove. They would throw a handful of bubble gum. He said, "Jake, we better go because it's trouble."
We got to go, you know.
And he had a rifle propped up on side the wall on the porch. When we get in that area, he come out shooting. We had to run.
I don't think he was intended, you know, they was intended shooters. They just scare, it's a scare tactic, you know.
You could hear them bullets coming
Yeah,
by
you could hear
here.
them.
Zoom. We could hear them.
Wow.
I heard them.
We learned how to survive. We know what was going on.
At what moment, well, what did it feel like to slowly get to the place where you could go to to a restaurant. What was it like when you first sat down in a non-segregated space?
Unbelievable.
Like going to a movie?
Looking around, I mean, it's just, you know, it was just such amazing, you know, because you couldn't believe, you know, that what was in the front side, because we never seen the front side, you know, until, you know, the thing got better. And after it got better, you know, they still, you had to go and order what you wanted. You didn't have waitress, wasn't no waitress back then to wait on you. And when they did, some of them did get what they would wait on you, it would still be, you know.
But so that's what I'm thinking about. It's like when you could sit on the floor of a theater or you could go in the front door of a restaurant, what that would have felt like.
You couldn't
feel.
you really, you know, you still had a fear tactic. You felt some fear, you know, but you know, you got a little bit of bravery, you know, that you would push on, but you still had some fear, you know, in and out, you know, and mingling, you know, you just didn't mingle. It was a long time before, you know, we would mingle outside. When you got out, you left, you didn't.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Fort Lauderdale and this white girl asked me to dance with her, so I went to dancing with her and I was trimming so bad.
How old were you?
About 21 or 22. And
Wow.
she said, "Oh, you ain't got to be nervous or nothing like this. It sounded great or not, but I still was shaky."
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
no, that you were that old and still that afraid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just been it ain't been that long since that fear just completely left, you know, that where you didn't feel no mind, you know, but
Same here.
You couldn't talk like the white people back then. You had to kind of walk a chalk line, but now you ain't scared like you used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we went through some turmoil coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
What did your parents say about kind of, how do I ask this better? What did your parents teach you as like, did they warn you about?
They're supposed to be careful, and you know,
that's about it.
they would whoop you back then.
Yeah, I believe I'm suffering now on the contest. My stepdaddy, I call a white man a lie at our tractor. He was working on the tractor, and I call a white man a lie. My daddy, when I knew anything, I was getting up off the ground. I didn't, you know, he slapped me so hard. Don't you call Mr. Rusty no lie, you know, don't you, boy, you know better than that. You know, and that was right there in Monticello, and I just, you know, you just, you know, we learned to survive. I mean, I mean, you know, in a sense, I'm kind of glad of it, you know, because my stepdad and I, we formed a trucking company, and doing that, you know, we would haul produce and corn and stuff from all the way to New York. And I want to tell you, I was in city of, I think it was Boston, Massachusetts, and was stopped by a car, and had old, you know, was in old semi trucks, you know, and he said, "Boy, yeah, yes sir." He said, "How much money you got?" I said, "I ain't got much. I've got enough to get some fuel to try to get back home." And do you know, he took me out, just a piece out on the mountainside the Justice Peace sitting up on his toilet stool, and he said, "Judge, I brought you a nigger in here. He's out there with an old piece of truck out there on the road in the way." I said, "Well, okay." He said, "Has he had any money?" He said, "Yeah, he had $25. He said, "Well, and some cent." He said, "Well, just take the $25 and give him the cent and let him get home the best way he can." This up north, where y'all come from.
That's Boston, yeah.
Huh?
That's up in Boston, yeah, up north.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, you know, and
Do you remember
many times we've been stopped on the road by police, and they would, you know, boy, nigger, you know, and what you doing, who truck this is, you know, and you got to plead with them, you know. I never was hit by one, but I've been called niggers and everything else, you know, because we kept the road hot going, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember how old you were at that time?
So,
Do you remember how old you were when you started driving, or when that
yeah,
happened?
I would say I was in between 25 and 35 years old, you know, when this was going on. I was a man, you know, but fearing for your life, you know.
Yeah.
The age really didn't matter, you know. You feared for your life.
Yeah, yeah.
We went through, blacks, we've done been through some stuff, man, and I can tell you, with me being old as I am, stuff I've seen, it's been rough, you know. The white man don't know what he got to face, but he got some stuff to face.
And back then, me and my baby brother was going up to Pennsylvania, and he loved the drinking thing. He pulled off to the side in Maryland, and the truck got stuck. And man, we went through something. Like, the man said, "I give y'all niggas 5 minutes to get it back on the road. When you get it back on the road, and clean, fix backside the road." I said, "Rabbit, well, I tell you what, when we get this truck on the road, we better not look back."
Well, I felt, you know, I think we've been discriminated against, but I'm proud of Monticello. I'm proud of Monticello. You know, the people here, one thing about it, my stepdad, white folk believe if a nigga work, you got it. You treat him, and they treated my stepdaddy good. His children, he treated us good. They treated us all right. You know, they didn't. That's been. I was called. Took my mother right out here to a little school program to school, and my girlfriend lived about 10 miles down the road. So I put Mama out and took off. Pulled the deputy sheriff stopped me and pulled me out, and they didn't have no driver's license. Took me to jail, and the high sheriff wasn't there. His wife was there because they lived in the jail. She said, "Woody, who you got with you?" "I got Ben Ransom, old boy." She said, "What you finna do with him?" "I'm finna put his black ass in jail. She said, "No, you ain't." So let him sit up there to JB. JB Thompson was his name. So let him sit up there to JB come. And see, Woody didn't know, I and my stepdad, we used to deliver moonshine for JB. And when she tried to raise him on the phone, on the intercom, couldn't get him. So finally he got there about 11:30 that night. And she said, "JB?" He said, "Yeah," you know, he was a little heavy. Woody brought Ben Ransom boy up here and to put him in jail. And I told him, "If you put him in jail, let him set up there on the step." He said, "Get Woody on," and you know, he was a wicked son. And called Woody. He said, "You come and get Ben, this boy, and take his black ass home to Ben." You know, and it was we was good. We was all right. You know, I ain't never been hit by one.
Yeah.
I was hit by my stepdad, was calling that white man alive. I ain't never been hit. You know, I've been discriminated against, but I can deal with that.
You know, I used to work down at the Cap tomorrow, and I got
We
sick
done
that
said
day.
enough now.
I got sick that day, and I was walking home. 2 deputies in a car come by there and stop and say, "Nigga, what wrong with you?" I said, "I'm sick." And they, "Nigga, you better get off the road before you drop dead on the road." And they went to laughing and took off.
Wow.
Well, thank you all for sharing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't much to share, but I mean, you know, we ain't the only one, all blacks. I mean, I done found out those up north was discriminated.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
Absolutely.
So it was,
Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson.
we
Thank
just
you.
know we black, and I'm old, you can see with me, I've been through some stuff, but I'm all right now.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Thank y'all.
All right.
All right. Hey.
Something's, one of your, even your small camera setup would be.
Definitely.
You okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.